personal feelings against me. Because when I left, look, I was making a lot of money. A lot of people were earning with me. And when you shut that off, people get upset. And they resented that, especially my boss at the time. But the fact that I didn't hurt anybody over a period of time, that really went in my favor. And listen, there's no guarantees. I'm still careful when I go to certain places.
Still till today?
Oh, yeah.
Really? So the level of paranoia is not gone?
It's not paranoia, and it's not a macho thing. I don't want you to think that, but I just feel very secure. But, look, God doesn't tell you to be stupid. I can't go back to Brooklyn and say, hey guys, I'm moving back into the neighborhood. It'd be like thumbing my nose in their face. So I don't do that. But, listen, I'm a speaker. I'm out in front of thousands of people every week. I've signed books for hundreds of people. I don't know who's on that book line. You never know. I'm not a kid anymore. God has blessed me with good things in my life, and I think I'll be around for a while longer. But if not, what could you do? That's how I look at things.
It seems, Michael, that you're very resolved. When speaking to you, there's none of it that you're uncomfortable, which is fascinating. But talking about numbers, I don't know if everybody really knows what kind of numbers you were bringing in. The numbers I read about, you were making 6 to 8 mil a week, 6 to 8 million per week, and you were selling $500 million of gas per month, and they said you are the highest money maker mafia boss outside of Al Capone. There's a lot of people that are making money with you. How did that happen?
People think that mob guys sit around in their social clubs and we start to target different businesses. Well, we're going to take that over, we're going to do this. Normally it doesn't happen that way. What happens is people come to us. People would come to me with all sorts of deals. And it was mostly guys that came inside their company that had a way to make some money, and they figured they can do it with me. I can protect them, I can finance them, we have strength, all that. And that's how this happened in the gas business. Some guy came to me at a very small gasoline operation, and he said, I have a way to defraud the government out of tax on every gallon of gasoline. It was attractive to me because at that time I didn't like the government. And my targets back then were always bigger companies. I didn't go after small stuff.
The list of companies I see, I'm like, you didn't go after small.
No, I didn't go after small. I figured the ones that can afford it, no problem. And the government was a huge company. So what happened, he had a couple of other wise guys that were kind of trying to extort him in his business. And I was able to solve that for him. And then we went into business together, and I'll tell you how it happened. I put somebody with him because I didn't know him that well, and I said, I'm going to put this fellow with you. We're going to see exactly what you got going on, and we'll try to figure this out. Well, the guy I put with him was a butcher. He was my butcher. Big guy, had a scar across the top of his head. Big Vinny, we call him. So he's coming to every Saturday. He would bring meat to my house, right? So this Saturday he pulls up, and he's got this big box on his shoulder. And I said, what are you doing with all that meat? Are we having a party or something? I don't know about it. He says, hey, Chief, it ain't meat. I said, what is it? He said, come on in the kitchen. We go in the kitchen. He puts the box down. He opens it up, $280,000. He said, that's the first week's take in the gas business. And long story short, he really got my attention at that point. I grew that 280 into, at times, almost $8 million a week.
Per week?
Per week, yeah. And basically, devised a scheme, built upon what that little germ of an idea that he had. And we were defrauding the government out of tax on every gallon of gasoline. It was 20 to 40 cents, depending where you were located. The government couldn't figure it out. We had a very efficient scheme put together, and they just couldn't figure it out. We were always one step ahead of them.
And is this part of the whole RICO story, which was, kind of linked to that, where corporation after corporation after corporation, and then the last one you would file a bankruptcy, and this was figured out on how to avoid paying the taxes, which allowed you to kind of compete against your marketplace. So you had guys that were buying 1 million gallons, all of a sudden they're buying 2, 3, then they're doing 10 million gallons from you, and you're one of the biggest vendors to them.
Patrick, we would...
And you're not even Middle Eastern or from Texas, you're Italian doing this.